Shalom. Call Haloyamla, Yahapwa, Bahasham, Yahawashai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash, Brakta Yahapwa, Brakta Yahawashai, Brakta Racha Kodash, Bahasham, Yahawashai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. Shalom, double honors unto the elder apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to the elders in the Akim and the Aqua. That's Shalom. I want to go into a quick video. It's an article about the Russians. They are now, here as the title says, it says Russia mobilizes 300,000 promises defensive use of nuclear weapons, while psychopathic Western leaders beg for annihilation. Well, I guess that's saying that they're begging for annihilation because, the West is circling a drain. The West, all wisdom is and all witchcraft, their strength of deception and the brain pollution and leading of people through lies is failing, and they're pretty much, this Western leadership is deteriorated, and they're just all over the place. They're erratic, they're non-tactical, they're sloppy, messy, and this is all biblical prophecy as well. We'll go to Jeremiah 49:10, because Esau used to be looked at as wise and as the people that was so smart, but actually they're pretty, remedial. But the Most High allowed them to have that image. But now the Most High is revealing who the wicked, K-beast, low-level base man of the earth is. So Jeremiah 49:10, but I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. He can't hide himself. How did he hide himself? Through his deceit and trickery. If you ever seen that movie, the old original Wizard of Oz movie, at the end it was revealed what it was a Edomite, so-called white man behind the curtain that was pulling all of the strings and all of the sorcery and witchcraft and the deceit, and had the wool over their eyes. But the Most High has pulled down that curtain, and they see who you see who the wicked low-level Edomite is, so-called white man. He shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. So the Most High is revealed and is making Esau bare, and that's that falling away that's coming. He's fallen away from his estate of being high and mighty, where everybody thought he was something special, but he's actually a low-level, basically spiritually retarded and intellectually disabled, intellectually incapable of leading a nation and leading the earth. So we'll go real quick to Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. The prophecies are speaking, the visions, and the vision. The word vision goes into prophecy, a vision into the future. So the prophecy is for an appointed time in the end times right now that we're in, of Esau being made bare and being revealed, and for World War III to be kicking off and ramping up at an all-time high pace right now for World War III. But at the end it shall speak. And what's the end? The end times. And that's where we're at right now. It shall speak and not lie. It's speaking very loudly right now. Only a person that want this society to continue and want to ignore all the signs is not going to see it. Though it tarry means though it remains, though it's being idle and staying where it's at. Wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. So it's been tarrying for thousands of years when this prophecy was written, and now it's speaking loudly and it's moving at all time, quote unquote, warp speed. Because the devil know he got a short time, that's why he's coming down real fast as well with Operation Warp Speed. Let me see, that was another precept I wanted to get, but I can't remember right now. Let's go ahead and get into the article. We'll read this article, read some of it. I'll leave the link to in the description below. and then get some precepts and close out. Oh, Salakia. Give me 1 second. Okay, Salakia. Here's the article. Here it says Russia mobilizes 300,000 what? Troops. Promises defensive use of nuclear weapons while the psychopathic Western leaders beg for annihilation. It says Russia's recent partial mobilization will call up 300,000 military reservists so a military reserve is someone that doesn't, on a full-time active, day in, day out level participate in the military, but they're still a part of it, but passive. And, like here in America, the reserves is what, every weekend or every other weekend. So like part-time, right? So all of the active full duty and all of the reserve part-time passive duty troops are all getting pulled up. They pulling out all the stops because this is the battle of Armageddon, getting ready to take down Babylon the Great. We'll call up 300,000 military reservists who, over the next few months, will be trained and put into service in the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. Why they got to be trained up if they in the military? Why? Because, as we just went over, they're passive. They don't really train like that. But now, that's always the potential if you a reserve in the army, is that at any moment you could get called up and go from reserve to fully active. And right now they're going to catch them up to speed before they put them out there all the way on the front lines, because they about to pull out all the stops. And they're going to call, because I believe I heard one brother speaking about it, the age limit is going to be from 18 to like 64 years old. They're going to be calling old men that's, going to be having walkers, that's going to have to get out there too. They're going to wheel out everybody in this last war, because this is the war to end all wars. And so if you know that this is your battle to end all battles, you're going to go all out, and you're not going to pull out all the stops. There's going to be no stone left unturned, and to try to gain victory for your people. But we know, according to biblical prophecy, that Esau, Edom, the so-called white race, are going to be put down by the Messiah through the Most High power of Yahweh. It says, will be trained and put into service in the ongoing conflict with Ukraine. It is now well known, although Western nations continue to deny the obvious, because they deny it how? Through the serpent media. The serpent, the head serpent, is the Illuminati, the shadow government that controls the media and lied to everybody through the CNN and all of the other major lying networks that they control. They run everything, and all they do is downplay it and diminish it, but behind the scenes they're instigating all of this nonsense. So it says, although Western nations continue to deny the obvious, that Ukraine's military offensives are being run by NATO troops. NATO is what? The 10 horns that's on top of the 7 heads of all the ancient old Edomite empires. The 7 heads is Greece, the ancient Greek kingdom. When the Greek kingdom was the beginning of the Esau, Edom, so-called white man's rulership in the earth in 331 BC. The Greeks, that's 1. The Romans, 2. Spain, 3. France, 4. Who else? Let me see. That's it. So Greece, Rome, France, Spain, Germania Major, Germania Minor. That's 5 and 6. And then 7 is Great Britain. That's 7. And then the Little Horn, which is America, that came up out of the 7, which is came out of Great Britain through the 13 colonies, and they became the United States through the rebellion against Great Britain when they had the Revolutionary War and gained independence from Britain. So that's the 7 heads. It's all of the foundational major rulership of the so-called white race from their inception back in the Greek time, when they were the Greeks in 331 BC. And the Ten Horns is now the Treaty of Paris back around in the 1950s. So the Ten Horns on top of the seven on top of the foundation of their ancient kingdoms, which is now the Roman Empire revised, or the four beasts, and Babylon the Great here. So now NATO is the Ten Horns, and NATO is actually running things because NATO is run by the shadow government, the Rockefellers and Rothschilds, which is the Jewish people, but they're actually the Zionists, the fake Jews, the identity thieves of the real Jews, and they run NATO, and America is, they the shadow government, NATO, handpicks the puppet president at every election, the electoral vote. So that's what's going on. It says right here, it says that Ukraine's military offensives are being run by NATO troops using NATO satellites, training, and gear. Because America is they're pretty much done with America, that's why everything is falling by the wayside through the economy and the dollar, because everything's going to revert back to the shadow government over there in Europe, the NATO troops using NATO satellites, training, and gear. In essence, Russia is already fighting NATO in a continental war. And Russia realizes that Western nations will not be satisfied with anything less than the complete obliteration of Russia as a sovereign nation. So, contrary to popular belief, it's the Western nations led by NATO, through NATO, the treaty and everything, because America has the military. They're the muscle of the alliance of the NATO and the European Union. So, but it's the Most High that's stirring the hearts of the kings of the earth, and chiefly the whore, which is America, and instead he poking at the bare Russia, and Russia is going with anybody that cares about their self-preservation. They're going to fight back, and Russia's going to raise up, and they're about to mobilize, and they're going to burn America with fire in the end, as prophesied. And then a lot of European Union and NATO allies of the whore America, Babylon the Great, is going to turn on America as well. They're going to all burn it with fire. Using NATO satellites, training, and gear, in essence, Russia is already fighting NATO in a continental war, and Russia realizes that Western nations will not be satisfied with anything less than the complete obliteration of Russia as a sovereign nation. 4 Donbass region republics are reportedly voting on a referendum to officially become part of Russia. So everybody, they all going to be, that's just the beginning phases. More and more people are going to be joining, linking over Russia. Outside of its original allies of China, of Iran. Iran is the modern day Persians. The Medes and the Persians was going to raise up and destroy Babylon, the modern Babylon, just like the Medes and Persians in the old Babylonian time. Because remember Nebuchadnezzar in the old Babylonian empire? Who took down the ancient Babylonians? The Salaki. Got a little alarm there. But who took down the ancient Babylonians? The the Medo-Persian Empire, the ancient Medo-Persian Empire, took down who? The ancient Babylonian Empire, and who the Most I say going to raise up in the end days? The modern day Medes, because Russia, so-called white man, the Edomites, who are the Russians, who go by the Russians over there, they're occupying the landmass of the ancient Medes. The Most High is raising up the Medes, that bear is going to take down with the Persians, who are the Iranians today, and then China is with them as well, strong and tight with them, with the economy that China has, and they're rising up and going to take down the modern day Babylonians. So there's nothing new under the sun. So the most People are regenerated and reincarnated, and then nations are reincarnated as well. That's why Babylon the Great, a reincarnated fourth beast, regenerated Roman Empire and this is just one conglomerate of all ancient nations over here in America, so-called America. So right here, continuing, it says, Ukraine's government is threatening up to 5-year prison sentences for anyone who even votes in these elections, proving that Ukraine has zero interest in democracy or self-determination of the people. So they don't want democracy, anything like that, to occur because it's not everything that they're it's not everything that is all um, cracked up to be through the media and everything. So they're putting people in prison that's wanting to vote for an election and these elections coming up. It says, nevertheless, these votes are taking place, and it's highly likely that these republics would join Russia, making them part of Russian territory. See, because they wanting to get annexed. Annexed meaning want to get, absorbed back into the old NATO. That's the hooks in the jaws of Gog and Magog, bringing them back to that old Soviet Union, because Ukraine was originally a part of Russia, of the old Soviet Union, and they became the Ukraine by the Cold War defeat of by America, and they broke up into different a couple of territories split off from Russia, the USSR, the Soviet Union, like Crimea and Ukraine are two of the main ones. Belarus, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Could be mistaken. But anyway, so they're trying to take back Ukraine. So, that's what's going down. There's a lot happening right now. Ukraine about to looking like it's going to get annexed back into Russia. So right here, next paragraph says, once that is established, Russia will consider that any attack against those newly joined regions, which were of course once part of the Soviet Union. There we go. That's because these areas it's the Soviet Union. So it's like, why is it even a big issue? Because America is the great deceiver of the earth, the whore of Babylon. America is a great deceiver, and people think that it's a big problem with Russia, but Russia just taking back what's originally theirs. And I did in a video months ago saying that they're going to succeed in when this whole Ukrainian war kicked off. They will succeed in taking back Ukraine. That's their original land, and through the Soviet Union. It says, which were of course once part of the Soviet Union, and where most of the people are ethnic Russians. They all, because that's their land. That's the Russians' land. Ethnic Russians who speak Russian and who actually want to join Russia. So contrary to popular belief, there's a contingent, there's a good amount of people that want to go back to Russia, and there's people you will believe that also want the Western wine of fornication, of being a loose, wild democracy, and want to be like the Western, they want to be like the Western United States, with all of the loose women and lewd behavior and do as thou wilt, and have a loose government and all of that. But Russia is not wanting that Western influence to take over Ukraine. So it's just a great whore, just in a tantrum, and just through its great wickedness, trying to manipulate through the media, and trying to make Russia as the bad guys, but America's actually the wicked instigators of all this stuff. It says Russian and who speak Russian and who actually want to join Russia is an attack on Russia itself. Such attacks could trigger defensive responses from Russia, and those defensive responses may include every type of weapon available to Russia's national defense, including nuclear weapons. Putin recently reminded the world, because I guess people kind of been rocked to sleep without, it hasn't really been a whole lot of nuclear war talk. It's just been a lot of drama, a lot of he say, she say, all throughout the media. And I did a video way back, I think around February or March, that Putin waved this nuclear sword. And that's in Isaiah 34. The Most High going to wave his sword, going to bathe his sword in heaven. That sword is that nuclear missile in heaven, the skies, when it gets shot into the ends of the earth to come down upon Babylon the Great. And Russia let them know, hey man, we still talking about releasing these missiles. So forget what everything what you hearing or y'all getting rocked to sleep. The thermonuclear missiles will be shot. And so letting everybody know. I got like a virus or something on his phone. I need to get it checked out. Salakia. So, thermonuclear missiles and war is going to, for sure. So 2023 is looking like for sure the year. This has been the great buildup. 2022 has been the great buffer zone. Like, if who's ever played a video game knows when the game is loading up, it takes a little bit of time to load up to get, to go ahead and get going. So 2022 is basically like a loading year. It's been loading and buffering and preparing for everything, for the game to begin. And so 2022 has been that great buffer zone transition from the world we know into 2023 and beyond, the apocalyptic end times of the wars and those movies you see like Book of Eli, which is one of the best movies there to check out. The Book of Eli with Denzel Washington. That's how it's going to be. It says right here in this headline here, we'll read a little more, get some precepts and close out. It says Western media outlets and nations are trying to provoke a first strike nuclear holocaust. So it looks like the Western, that's the great instigator and whore that America is, they're trying to get it all started and trying to get it kicked off. The Western media, which now lies even more vehemently than Pravda ever did. I'm not sure what that is. You can look it up and see what that's referencing. It claims this is Putin threatening the first use of nuclear weapons. And see, that's the devil the Bible speaks of. When you look up the word devil, it means slanderer, false accuser. And who they chiefly falsely accuse? The Israelites, so-called Black, Hispanic, Native Americans through his media. But right now, they're trying to get everybody on its side with the lies and slandering Russia to make them look like they're the good guys in this war. But this war is all to destroy Babylon, the whore, first over here in America. And then when Yahushua returns, he's going to wipe out Russia and all of its allies to establish the kingdom of heaven. It's funny because the whore, America, they're instigating their own destruction because this is only going to end with them being burnt with thermonuclear fire and the elect being beamed up. So keep the commandments and hope and pray for forgiveness. Have the faith of Yahushua and hope that you don't get burnt up in this place because it will go down with thermonuclear fire. It says, so we start right here. It says claims this is Putin threatening the first use of nuclear weapons. That is, of course, a lie, but it is a convenient lie that's being used by Western media to call for a Western preemptive nuclear strike against Russia in order to stop Russia's aggression. So what America's been doing, so the main objective of the whore has been to spread Western influence throughout all the eastern parts of the world, Europe, Asia, and Africa, and over there in Russia as well, and to try to circumvent and destroy biblical prophecy because they're trying to influence everybody and have them under the Western spell to follow them, to wander after them forever and ever, so that Russia won't wake up and throw and burn them with fire like the Most High has prophesied. And now, no one's been calling out the Western media as a propaganda machine of lies to slander the Lord's chosen, so-called Blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, the lost 12 tribes of Israel. All these years, the media has been slandering the Israelites for decades, and nobody's called that out. But now that it's a problem, now that it's against other like Russia, and now they're finally being called out for the liars that they are. Next paragraph, it says, this is a very dangerous development because if Russia takes such threats seriously, then classical game theory will require Putin to strike first. See, because it's dangerous because they see that the serpent, the tongue of the serpent through the media, steady lying on Russia and making them look like the aggressors. And so they're doing that as they done to the Israelites. They always make us look like the bad guys. And that's why when a cop kills a brother in the streets, the media is always slandering a brother, the slain Israelite man, to justify why that brother got killed. Say, oh, he had marijuana on him, or he was refusing, he was refusing arrest, or he was being uncooperative. They'll come up with any slanderous thing to make guilty the innocent brother that just got slain by an Edomite devil cop. So that's what they're now doing with Russia. They're trying to slander Russia and make them look justified in what they're about to do. They're trying to make them look like the bad guys. So when they strike them with missiles, then Russia would look like the bad guy, and like they deserve the missiles. So Putin is dangerous because the media is saying it's dangerous it's dangerous because it's not dangerous. It's biblical prophecy, but they're scared because they don't have the Most High to save them. So it's dangerous for them because Putin's going to see that. Putin going to say, "Hey, man, these bastards are lying on us because they're going to end up shooting us eventually. So we got to go ahead and shoot them first." Because basically, it's Russia, gearing up for self-defense. Basically, the way it seemed like America is the ones being with the aggression because we're being spoon-fed lies here in America and through the Western media, and the truth isn't really being told to us as it never has been, So it says right here, it says Slovakia. Then classical game theory would require Putin to strike first in order to preempt the anticipated preemptive strike by the West. So they're going to, it's like the two bullies on the block. They're in each other's face, and then Russia and America. And so Russia sees that the bully of the earth all these decades is about to hit him first, so he's gonna go ahead and swing first he's gonna go ahead and get off first because he knows it's gonna be a strike either way. So he's gonna go ahead and have to beat him to the punch. So thus we find ourselves in a rapidly escalating feedback loop, which could end in nuclear disaster. It's not disaster; it's nuclear prophecy. Especially given that the Biden regime appears to be actively trying to start World War III before the midterm elections, allowing him to declare a national war footing and try to postpone the ballot box lashing that Democrats are sure to endure if the elections take place. So many different layers at work because also this is the other so many levels. The serpent, he's very slick because the Democrats, they know that they won't win this next election. So what he's trying to do is, so it looks like that's another motivational factor for the West, for them to start World War III before the elections because Biden probably has the worst approval rating, the worst presidential approval rating in the history of presidents. And he more than likely, most 100%, almost 99.999% positive that he will not get reelected. So if he start this war, then that's when he can go ahead and declare like martial law, and that's why the laws in Chicago is being taken away because it's the first purge city, which is going to sweep throughout the country. And then he's going to say that there's so much chaos that he's going to have to call martial law to bring in the military to govern the country. And so martial law, he can be the master, the chief commander, and declare martial law, and it won't be any more elections because now he's master and commander, and no one can threaten his place because he now is a dictator. He will become a dictator at that time, a tyrant, and until further notice for the foreseeable future. So many things at work right now. So I'll leave a link to the to the article in the description. Y'all can go ahead and read that and read more of it. But yeah, so this is all biblical prophecies. Man, this phone going crazy. So we'll get some precepts, which is most important, and we'll go ahead and close out. Ezekiel 7:14. They have blown the trumpet, even to make all ready, but none go into the battle. For my wrath is upon all the multitude thereof. So the Most High is blowing the trumpet, and that's that battle getting revved up right now. What's happening in America and all throughout the earth. And the two bullies on the block, the two bad boys, America, the bully, the leader of the NATO and EU, the military might of the NATO, America, and the guard and the protector of Gog and Magog, the Russians. The Russians. They're about to throw down with thermonuclear missiles, being the end game for it all. 2 Ezra 16:13. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss. Because those thermonuclear missiles are referenced as arrows right here, prophetically and mysteriously right here. And the Most High, when the Most High shoots it, it will hit its targets, of Babylon the Great, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. So you know that these aren't regular arrows. You can't. Anyone with a bow and arrow cannot shoot an arrow from, say, Texas all the way to Russia, or to over there to East India, or to China. That's impossible. That's talking about thermonuclear missiles. Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 15. See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. Circle means in a circle, meaning you keeping your head on a swivel, paying attention to biblical prophecies and current events, and filtering it through the Bible, and knowing what time we in, and to get your house in order, get your life together, repent, keep the commandments, and the faith of Yahushua. Verse 16, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. This society is done. The 80s and 90s, when you look at YouTube videos of old videos back in the 80s and 90s, and music videos or cartoons or like wrestling, all this stuff, people, when you read the comment section, everybody's saying the 90s was the best time, and then people say how they wish they can go back to the 80s or go back to the 90s. Why? Because these days, because we're in the last days, these decades all have different vibrations on them. They were in the time of mirth and joy, and they were at its peak of entertainment back in the 90s and 80s. And now in these last days, there's no entertainment, no creativity, no originality, nothing but death and destruction and sad times. And because this place is done, and the Most High is is wrapping up this place. There's no more. It won't be the same ever again, But the kingdom of heaven, this is what we want, because this isn't our place of rest. This is only hell, we only oppress here. So verse 17, wherefore be ye not unwise, unwise, but understanding what the will of the Most High power Yahweh is, Bahashem Yahushai. So as I was just saying, people may look back and say, man, these are some scary times, or these are some worry, troublesome times. But you have to know what the will of the Most High is. That's why you have to be occupied in prophecy. Because if you're not occupied in prophecy, and you're not studied, that's why the Most High the Most High say through His scriptures, study to show thyself approved, or you'll be a reprobate, and reprobate means unapproved. So if you're not studying, you're going to be a reprobate, and you won't know what's going on. So you have to study, so you can know the will of the Lord, and that all these things must first come to pass, as the Messiah say. It's time to go through this. It's time to go through these troublous times, so that the Messiah can return, and everlasting peace can be on the earth, and not this madness under the K-beast. Bam, bam. So verse 18, and be not drunk with wine, and that wine is spiritual wine, philosophy and the media and all of the entertainment and the dainties and the quote unquote entertainment here. And be not drunk with wine, wherein is excess, but be filled with the Spirit. So not with the carnalities of Babylon the Great that Esau, Edom, the cave beasts give you, but be filled with the spirit of the most, be filled with the spirit of the Most High power Yahweh in the name of His only begotten Son Yahweh Shah. And this is what we need to be doing. Just stay occupied in this. Revelation 19:10. And I fell at His feet to worship Him, and He said unto me, See thou do it not. Excuse me. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren that have the testimony. Man. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahushua. Worship Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, for the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. So filled with what spirit? The spirit of Yahweh and Yahushua, which is the spirit of prophecy. Because Yahushua, the Messiah, when you read the Messiah and his walk and what he said, he was always talking about prophecies. He always would say, and the prophecy now is going to be fulfilled, which the prophet said this or that. He was fulfilling prophecies and then talking about the prophecies to come. He was talking about the future. He was talking about the prophecies that was being fulfilled when he was walking the earth, that he was fulfilling. And then and then he spoke on the prophecies to come 2,000 years from now, right now, in the end times. When the Yahushua came on the scene 2,000 years ago, that was the beginning of the end coming into fruition. That was the clock that started for the beginning of the end times to come in the next 2,000 years. So we go to Revelation 14 and 12. Here is the patience of the saints. The saints are the Israelites. Here are they that keep the commandments of the Most High power Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, and the faith of Yahushai. So you have the faith of Yahushai and keeping the commandments of the Most High, and you can't go wrong. Isaiah 13 and 4. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. That's the Valley of Jehoshaphat. That's the World War III. All of the people joining up and linking up with Russia, and then NATO and all of its allies. That's World War III. This is the end times. This Isaiah 13 is prophetic about the end times. Kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai of hosts, mustereth the host of the battle. So that word host means armies. Let's go ahead and get it real quick. Because the Most High is all about war. And war to bring in everlasting peace. That which goes forth, army, war, warfare, host, army, host. So the Most High don't play. He all about that war. So the Most High that's why I always say throughout the scriptures, the Lord Yahweh of hosts, the Lord Yahweh of armies. The Most High is all about war against all of the enemies of his chosen, the apple of his eye, the Israelites, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Exodus 15 and 3. The Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, is a man of war. The Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, is his name. Yahweh is his name. So it let you know right there. Most High is all about war from the beginning, and it hasn't changed. Because the greatest war to come is getting kicked off, is getting mustered up right now by the Most High. Zephaniah 1 and 14. The great day of the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, is near. This is the great day that's been prophesied by all the prophets from the beginning until now, all throughout the scriptures. That great time in which the Most High has been talking about, it's here. It is near and hasteth greatly. Hasted meaning quickening, greatly. That's that the Most High shortening the days. Everything is in a microwave process right now, very quick. Even everything is so much different than it was in 2020, just 2 short years. And hasteth greatly, even the voice of the day of the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. The mighty man shall cry there bitterly. So all these men thinking they tough and bad, they gonna cry and weep bitterly like a woman in travail and in pregnancy. Because these men, they ain't tough. They think they bad, but when the Most High come and bring down his wrath, They're going to be beaten into powder, and they're going to be terrified. Ezekiel 38:7. The morning is coming to thee. Or is that, hold on. Ezekiel 30, I'm tripping. Ezekiel 38:7. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So this is the chapter, the famous Ezekiel 38 chapter, talking about Gog and Magog, and when the Most High is going to bring up the Russians, and then bring up the old Soviet Union spirit, and he's gathering all of his old Soviet Union territories, and then his allies, and then parts of NATO or European Union, if not all of them, going to link up with Russia and them, and burn a whore with fire, as prophesied in Revelation and in Jeremiah. So when we get this here, this verse 7 here, love to do this translation comparison, because you have to be rooted first, because these other translations other than the King James version is can go off, but you have to be rooted to know what is accurate of these other translations. So right here, when we get this New Living Translation version right here, it says what? When we read it, says, "Get ready, be prepared, keep all the armies around you mobilized, and take command of them." And what did we read that mobilized? Here we go with this thing again. Damn. Yeah, right here in the top right here, it says Russia mobilizes 300,000, promises defensive use of nuclear weapons. See right there, and that's another key word. Another key word says defensive use. Russia is defending itself because the whore is pushing forward and poking at the bear, Russia. But see, that mobilizes, Russia mobilizes. And what did the scripture say in this translation? That was a good translation. And this other version here in the New Living Translation says what? It says, "Get ready, be prepared, keep all the armies around you mobilized, and take command of them." So that's what's happening. Gog and Magog, Russia is mobilizing all of its resources, all of its reserves, and goes into people and weaponry. And they're mobilizing 300 more reserve troops to get ready for America, because they tripping and egging them on and instigating, and they're gonna tear down America. America thinking they're trying to subvert and overcome and thwart biblical prophecy, and they won't be able to do that. So because the elites, the wicked elites of America, and the Illuminati, shadow government, the Jewish people, they work directly with Satan, and they know the biblical prophecy of Russia going to try to destroy them. Well, not going to try, but will. And the Messiah is going to return to destroy Russia after America's destroyed. So America is trying to take out Russia so that they won't have that problem anymore. So they're trying to take out so basically they're waging war against the Most High prophecy by trying to take out Russia first. Because Russia, as we read in the article, Russia knows that America's going to attack first. So it's saying, okay, we got to go ahead and attack them first. More than likely, got to hurry up and strike first before they try to take us out. And then they're going to try to. That's going to. And that would just say in a alternate universe that happened, that would effectively be able to try to get around the prophecy. But even if they did, the Most High will just drop bombs like he did on Sodom and Gomorrah, so they'll never get away, But this is just blasphemy against the Most High. Isaiah 34:8. For it is the day of the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai's vengeance, and the year of recompense is why? For the controversy of Zion. What's the controversy? First, see all of manifest destiny when they were destroying the natives here, taking over their land and pushing westward, taking over all of the west and over this whole country, and putting the so-called blacks on transatlantic slave ships. And also the Northern Kingdom was put on slave ships as well with Columbus when they took natives from over here to Spain. So this is the controversy that's been going on for hundreds of years, for centuries, against the Lord's chosen, the apple of his eye. So this is the Lord of the recompenses, because they thought they would never ever be destroyed. Because this is why they're proud. This is one of the main reasons. Nobody thought about the latter end of it. Psalms 49 and 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever. America, everyone that was in America, all of the citizens, they thought America would never ever be defeated because of its military might and power and technology. So they thought America would last forever, and no one could ever see America being taken down for their military strength. And their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. So what is America named after? America is named after Amerigo Vespucci, an Edomite devil, so-called white man. America is the feminine version of America. America is the feminine version of Amerigo. So whenever a man gets a possession, like a car or something, what does he do? He names his vehicle or his possession that he want to name. He gives it a female name, or like a pool stick, call it Lucille, something feminine, right? And that's what America is, the feminine version, the feminine name of Amerigo Vespucci, Edomite man. So this is how they name places after their own names. They take over lands and they name them after themselves. So like the District of Columbia, Washington, George Washington. So so forth and so on. So they thought that this place was going to last forever, but it won't. So going to Revelations 6 and 17, and it reads, For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? The answer is the Most High. This is a rhetorical question. The Most High already know nobody gonna be able to stand. So whoever the Most High has that he wants to judge won't stand. But whoever that the Most High is having mercy on, he's going to be planted by the rivers of water forever and ever, being co-heirs, joint heirs with the Messiah, Yahushua, forever and ever. The Israelites, so-called blacks, Spanish, Native Americans. Okay, like I said, I'm going to leave a link to the description and the link to the article in the description box, and you can check out the rest of that article. So to the next video I say, I hope this video is edifying. To the next video I say, Shalom. Also, the water to the Most High Power, Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, for the Rafah Kodash, to make this video. To the next video I say, Shalom.